Bloody wrong one. Welcome to the Arsenal show. We are live. Ignore the first bit where you saw us all popping up like rabbit in headlights and then me saying, oops, bloody hell, I've done the wrong entrance. Ignore it. Just pretend that didn't happen. It was a smooth operation. All right. I'm joined by Steve K, Jerome Marks, and Melvin Marks. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, good.
Very
thanks.
good. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good. We've got plenty to discuss. Declan Rice and Julian Timber finally signed for Arsenal, but it does feel like we've already spoken about this, but we haven't. I had to double check because we actually hadn't. The deal was actually completed on Saturday, or Friday and Saturday, and from there we've seen interviews, videos. Like there was the video from the live video feed from on tour. Well, there was back at Colony before they went over to the US tour. So yeah, there's been plenty of them happening. First and foremost, Declan Rice, deal over the line. Steve, finally, it was good to see Declan Rice in his Arsenal kit, fully confirmed.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was going to be like an anticlimax when it was going to happen. I thought, when it's going to happen, it was just going to be like, he signed. But no, it wasn't, was it? I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. All the videos, all the interviews. Arsenal know how to do things properly, don't they? That I thought that was great. When they introduced Declan Rice and Julian Timber, to the rest of the team, I thought that was brilliant. And Declan Rice, he's as Mikel Arteta says, welcome to the family. And I'm just so excited. And I just said, I thought it was going to be a bit of an anticlimax, but watching all these videos, hearing him talk, what he's been saying about the club, what he wants to be, what he wants, when he's here, what he wants to do. I mean, I know Martin Odegaard's a captain, and you don't, but you just see this geezer just blending into an Arsenal captain, don't you? I mean, it's just the future. He is. We always said, like for a long while now, that we've never replaced Patrick Vieira. Well, I think we have now. I generally rate him. I think he could go on to be better than him. I really think I do. And yeah, all I can say is at this stage, anyway, Granite who? What? Well, only joking, Granite.
Yeah,
only joking.
I don't think I'd ever hear Steve say Granite who.
Yeah, no, just.
Oh! Jump the gun there. Melvin, Declan Rice arriving, as you can see on screen here. A beaming smile on his face, and I'll go into some of the quotes that he said, but he said all the right things, didn't he?
Yeah, it's all very well. It's brilliant. I mean, when you watch these things, you feel so good. But at the end of the day, I'd rather a crap video and a fantastic player. But we might get both. It might be a great video and an absolutely wonderful player. And just thinking about it, he seems to be the type of player to fit in to exactly what we want. We want someone to break up play, to allow us to play. I've had a number of times we've sat there and somebody has just like walked through and we've been exposed. Our back four's been exposed. That's going to happen less and less. I really do believe that. So, no, it's a great signing. And I was thinking before, actually, because sometimes I do that, and they say 100 million is a lot of money, and it is. It's a fortune. But you think about it. I mean, there was, I saw a program, there was Sterling was being shown when he played for Liverpool. I thought he just went, like a season or two ago, to Chelsea for 50 million. And that's a waste of 50, in my opinion. Seriously, a waste of 50. He probably won't even get in the team now. 50, and we've spent 100, and we've got someone that will play every week, hopefully, for the next 8 years, perhaps. And he will make more of an impact on the pitch than Sterling's done with Chelsea or Liverpool. No, it's fantastic. Great signing. Great signing.
Jerome, Declan Rice, the medical, the interview. I'm guessing you've seen it. He seemed happy and the right move for everyone. It feels like, for me at least.
Yeah, definitely. I think you could see from the videos like how happy he was, and also how happy everyone was to see him as well.
Yeah.
It's mad, like this type of signing like one of the best England internationals. That's not a typical signing that we make, is it? And I think, judging by the videos as well, they've obviously known it's going to happen for a long time. Like you had all those, Laura Woods and Ian Wright getting involved in that Adidas video.
Yeah.
Like this must have been planned. Like for a long time. So yeah, I was refreshing every few minutes to see if there was another new video that was coming out to watch. Yeah, it was great, and he spoke so well. So yeah, on both occasions, the game to Arsenal, and then when the sort of announcement got made when Arteta was in the room with all the players, like he's just very comfortable, like in his own skin, isn't he?
Yeah, that's a good thing. Do you know what I likened it a bit to? Like you go into secondary school and then your mate joins in year 8, and you've all been there for the first year, and he comes in and he just slots into the crowd. It's like everyone already knows him. It was, and where we've had a lot of players with England international duty, everyone knows him. Like the names he reeled off in the interview. I'll go through some of the quotes he said, but the names he reeled off in the interview just shows that everyone has a connection from England and former youth England teams as well. But even down to the likes of Eddie Nketiah, who he spoke about, him and Eddie both got released from Chelsea on the same day, and to be back at the same club years later speaks volumes for both of their characters as well. So he gives the respect to other players that he's been around the squad, not necessarily the big names as well that people would assume. He said, some of his quotes said, first of all, I want to say it's a massive thank you to Arsenal fans for the support so far. It's been overwhelming. There's been a lot going on, speculation of a month, but obviously as a player, you want to get things dealt with as quickly as possible. So you're settled. Today was my first day and already really feeling at home. He went on to say, which I found quite interesting, I've been looking at Arsenal over the last couple of seasons and the trajectory they've been going on. Not last season, but the season before they finished 5th. But you could see the style of play that Mikel was implementing. Last season was an outstanding season, blowing pretty much every team out of the water, with the exception of Manchester City. With Mikel and how it works, the squad, how young everyone is, the energy around the club, also the challenge of getting Arsenal back to where they belong, which means a lot to me. I know the fans, what the fans really want. For me as a player, I've come really hungry for more success to spend my best years at this great club. Like, for me, there's some great quotes, and the most poignant ones for me is where he said, "It's not just last year that Arsenal did well. I saw it from the season before," and any Arsenal fan would say the same. It's easy for people from the outside to look in and see that Arsenal came 5th and just put that down as Arsenal have flopped at the end of the season. Oh, they come 5th. What, is there nothing to shout about? But it wasn't that. It was the way we done it. It was the manner we done it. It was the follow on from the end of last season and continuing that through to this season, having an excellent first half of the season. And you could just see the progression. That's why I think as Arsenal fans, we're ignoring the nonsense about bottling it. And we're looking at it as in a proud way, that to see the team progressing. Yes, we want the team to progress more. Yes, we're expecting, our expectations have risen. But this isn't a culmination of this isn't just one season. This is a culmination of the hard work we saw when we came 8th 2 seasons in a row. And then the season where we came 5th. Things are moving forward, and it's good to see that players like Declan Rice are noticing it as well. Some really good quotes from Rice, Steve?
Yeah, excellent quotes. And, listening to you there, Kieran, I was just nodding all the way through it. And you know, especially like when you were saying about like things that he said, you know, things that he notices, things that a professional footballer notices, and what he's seen from Arsenal, and I love it because Declan Rice he is quoted and he's been saying all these good things, but he's been saying and he's seen what I've seen since Mikel Arteta's come to the club. Now, I've seen Arsenal fans when we finished 8th and finished 5th and wanted him sacked. Yeah, I've seen him. Oh, he's not good enough. Oh, we finished 8th, we finished 5th. You know, I'm not going to stand unmodest if that's the right word and say that I knew where we was going. I knew we would get here. Yeah, I knew it as soon as he walks into the club. And it's great to hear Declan Rice come in. And, you know, there were Arsenal fans who were saying, oh, I don't know, 8th, I don't know, we're rubbish, you know, get sacked the manager and all that. I don't know if he's the right manager. Absolute nonsense. You know, Declan Rice has seen it. He's come out and, you know, he's literally said those words. You've said them. And, yeah, it's great to hear what he says. You know, he seems, you know, he spoke well. He spoke well of West Ham. You know, he was really sincere in you know what he said about the club that he's left, and I think a lot of West Ham fans will like that. I mean, obviously they don't like that he went for Arsenal, but you know he comes across just as a really, really genuine bloke, and one of these blokes where you know you believe what he says. Some people can come out with, you know, they go to another club and they talk absolute nonsense. Right, we've seen it many a time. You know, Mason Mount, what absolute nonsense! I know he's, you know, gone to Manchester United, but I do think a lot of what he said was a little bit, you know, to please the fans. You know, I don't blame him for moving, but I don't agree with some of the things that he said. But Declan Rice, totally honest, straight down the line. He's left his club. They love him, and yeah, I mean, I just can't wait to see him play. And you know, he's just got so much to his game, and you know, I'm just looking forward to him. And I still don't know what Mikel Arteta's going to do with him. And is he going to play him in a 6? Is he going to play him with an 8? I really don't know. I mean, like Melvin said there, you know, he can break up the play. You know, he can certainly do that, but he can do a lot more than that. And we know Declan Rice wants to play forward. You know, he said that many a time, so it's going to be interesting. But yeah, loved his word, genuine bloke, and just so glad he's at Arsenal.
Yeah, Melvin. Some have criticised Rice for picking Arsenal over Man City, although Man City didn't come in with a proper bid. But some say that Declan Rice has probably made it clear by then that he wanted to join Arsenal. But some have criticised Rice and saying that if you wanted to go for trophies, surely you pick Man City, or even to the fact that you'll be more you'll win more at City than you will at Arsenal. Why are you going to City? You're picking the easy way out.
Why is it an easy way out? The City would be an easy way out, and it'd be guaranteed 1 or 2 trophies a season. You wanted to have a challenge. Surely it's harder to have a challenge and not have a challenge. It wouldn't be a challenge at Man City. Look at Grealish. The first season he was there, £100 million player. He stunk the place out. And he wasn't really under any pressure because they had so many other players coming in to do a better job than him. It didn't really matter that much. If you go to a club that really has paid a lot of money and he's going to be your signing and he doesn't produce in the first season or so, that player will be under a lot of pressure, more so than any other Manchester City player. So it's not the same thing. I think it shows a lot of guts, a lot of determination. He wants to challenge himself. And if he wins, hopefully he will, the Premiership with Arsenal next season or 2, he can look at it and say he was part of it, big time. And he's actually done something. I know they still got to win it, City, not given on the plate. I'm being a bit OTT. But with City, if you don't win the Premiership in say once in 2 seasons, well, they've got a better record than that recently, but once in 2 seasons, you are a failure big time. And, you know, it's horrible. But for Arsenal, I haven't won it for 20 odd years, coming up for 20 years. For him to come at the right time, that fabulous timing at the right time to challenge again. If he wins it, he can say, "Yeah, that's what I've done. All right, look at my medal. I've done it. I've had the club with me, but I've actually contributed more than I might have done at City." So no, he wants a challenge. Why not? It's brilliant.
Do you think though, Milv? Can I just ask you something, Milv? Like, just quickly, do you think he's when he's deciding where he wants to go to? Football comes around in cycles. We all know that. We've been in football long enough, right? Do you think he sat there and thought, well, hold on a minute, 2, 3, 4 years time, I fancy Arsenal being where City are, and I fancy Arsenal being above City and doing things that City have been doing. When I look at their young squad, when I look at their players that come in, I think I'm at the right place by going there. Maybe he's thinking of that. He's 24.
I think there was a lot of things that made him come to Arsenal. I think Arteta was 1. I think being in London was 2. I think the challenge was 3. And I remember growing up, Liverpool were the team growing up. They were like winning the league every year. And there was 1 outstanding or 2 outstanding players from other teams that were making this. And Liverpool bought that player. They're the only ones that could do it. And they put him in the reserves for a year. And I thought, this is never, ever going to stop. What is going to stop Liverpool ever winning the league again?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Every season, right? I mean, you might remember it, Steve, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I think that's the same with City. You can't imagine them not winning the league. But like you say, that could happen. Because, that could, if Pep suddenly decides to go to Saudi Arabia for a holiday, they don't let him out again. Then what happens there, Or, he might do. You don't know, these things happen.
I don't.
If he does go to get a replacement for Pep, and I know that whoever goes there will have a lot of money to play with. They're like Monopoly, unbelievable. But he is very, very good, Pep. Let's face it.
Yeah,
He's a very good manager, absolutely superb. So to get another one like him, they might find it slightly difficult. Also, whoever goes to City after Pep, if it's the next year or two, will find it difficult on the basis that, like when Wenger went, when Ferguson went, who wants to be the next one?
That's right? What I'm saying, mate. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so he might be thinking that. I don't know. There's a lot of variables, but there's a lot of things he thought of.
There is.
The people want to talk about City and their blank check, but you have to factor in Pep. You've seen City have had major money before and they've not dominated like they have since they've got Pep. So it's the Pep factor, no matter what people want to say. Man United have spent a lot of money and they've spent it badly. So it just shows you it's not always
and
about
Chelsea.
Yeah, and I think people are going to have a bit of a shock this season. In my eyes, I don't see Chelsea getting back into things straight away, and it will be massively dependent on how long they keep Poch. Before I go to Jerome quickly, he also said, I just want to say it's an absolute privilege to be a part of Arsenal Football Club. The history of the players that have played here speak for themselves. And now I've joined. We've got some other signings as well, and we're looking to get Arsenal back to the big time, back to winning stuff. You've seen over the past few years how well the squad has been with the manager, and there's a real good feel factor around the place. I'm so hungry and ready, and I'm going to give everything for this club. I do week in, week out. We're going to be on some journey, and I'm looking forward to it. Again, just look, we can all say the right thing, but I think you alluded to it earlier. You just believe it when he says it. It does feel like he wants to be on a part of a journey. That he knows there's a feel-good factor because he speaks to Bukayo. He seems very close to Bukayo Saka, and he obviously speaks to him quite a lot. So, Jerome, it's good that there's already that connection, and it's just like mates joining and already being part of something.
Yeah, this is like one of those occasions where when you sign someone, you want them to sort of hit the ground running. Like, how surprised would you be if that wasn't the case with Rice? Like, you'd be shocked, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Because every time you've watched him play for the last 3 years, he's been amazing. He doesn't have like a dip in form. Like, it's just not sort of in him. And you can tell
he's playing for a club that's quite limited as well.
Yeah, and you can tell the way he speaks, the way he plays. Like, he doesn't want to lose. He doesn't want to lose a tackle, let alone like a game or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So Yeah, ideal. Like I said, saying all the right things in an interview, all happy and smiley. But when the whistle blows, he's gonna change into like a big serious competitor.
Yeah.
So yeah, just can't wait to see him play. Really.
No, you can definitely see that. Arteta had some good things to say about Declan Rice. He said, when asked about the qualities of Rice will bring, he said, his leadership, his aura, obviously his experience he already has in this league. He's going to bring the team to a new dimension. He's got the physical qualities that we've been missing for a while. That's why we had to do what we had to do to get him, because it's really important to us. A while ago, I spoke about players that could complement each other and give us more flexibility, more depth, more quality, and take a winning hunger into the game with players who really want to push themselves to a different level. I see him like a lighthouse. This is one of his Amazon quotes, isn't it? I see him like a lighthouse. He will light up others and improve others and make the team better. The way he talks, his ambition, he has the passion for the game, exactly what we need. Again, that's from the manager. And this is what we kind of see as well. Or this is what I see, Steve. So it's good to hear reasons why the manager brought him in, because obviously there's the obvious ones, but they're just sort of more character and personality traits that he wants to bring into the team, as well as the physical attributes that he states there.
Yeah, I mean that part of it's everything. He looks at the whole thing, doesn't he, Mikel Arteta, when he buys a player? He looks at everything. He looks at what obviously they can do for you on the pitch. He looks into the character. He looks into everything. You know, whether he would get on with the rest of the players, and he goes through it with a fine tooth comb. And yeah, look, I mean, Declan Rice, he's a winner. You know, he's a leader. You know, he's not played Champions League footballer, but he's won a European Cup competition, and so he's played in Europe. He knows what it feels like, how to win. You know, playing big matches. You know, on big nights under the lights. You know, because under the lights at the London Stadium at West End, I can tell you, I've been there. It's like it is electric. And all these attributes, all these things, it makes all the reasons why, why he's came in, what he can give to the team. He doesn't buy a player. I've seen, it's mostly clickbaity or, basically people trying to wind up Arsenal fans. But, you hear people saying, and I don't want to put Thomas Partey down, and they're saying, well, now Arsenal ain't as good now because, Partey's leaving and Rice. And Rice is coming in. I'm sorry, I love Thomas Partey, but you're not Declan Rice. You can't move like Declan Rice. You're not a Declan Rice. I'm really sorry. I hope Partey stays. I hope he's part of the squad. But for me, he's not a Declan Rice. Mikel Arteta knows that, and that's why he's paid 105 million for him. He's going to build the team around him, and that's why you play. This big money. It was Declan Rice or bust, wasn't it? So yeah, I can't wait to see him play.
Steve alluded to it there. Well, you said it there, Melvin. Mikel Arteta wants to build a team around Declan Rice. He's the lighthouse. Do you see him as the lighthouse that sees everything?
Yeah, well, I do really. It's where it all, if you've got a decent midfield to protect the back four, and the back four are comfortable, then you can play even better football. You can afford to, your midfielders, the other midfield can afford to go forward a bit more. No, he's the cogs. He's the main cog. I can see him as the main cog in our team, definitely. And for once, we've got a midfield. I know Partey is tall and he's very good at getting out of tight situations, but he's not what I would call physical. I thought he was a physical player when we first signed him. But he's not physical. Because if he goes into a heavy tackle, it's even money whether he comes out, limping or anything. So, but this guy is strong as an ox, I put him. And we need someone like that. Even the thought of a midfielder playing against him thinking, hold on a minute, I've got him against me. He just changes the dynamics of our midfield and of our team. So, yeah, he's a very important hub.
Can I just say something? Just sorry, Joan. Just before I forget, it's very quick. You know, it just come to my mind. You know, you're just speaking about where he's going to play at the base. I think, like, you know, over the season, we keep, you know, the inverted left backs, full backs that Mikel Arteta loves to play. They were testing it out to the end of last season. You know, with Zinchenko moving in one side and probably maybe Timber moving in the other side, or Ben White. You know, that is sort of tailor made for Declan Rice to get further up the pitch, isn't it? You know, because they just tuck in. Just come to me head. Just thought I'd get it out.
Jerome, could Declan Rice be the lighthouse, the vision?
Yeah, I think it's quite a nice term for him, really. I don't know if you might have seen this, but I'm pretty sure it was Trippier of Newcastle was interviewed earlier on, and I think they were talking about central midfielders, weren't they? They were talking about like the big ones. Casemiro, they mentioned. Did he mention Partey as well?
Yeah, I think what he said, it was Casemiro or Declan Rice, weren't it?
Okay. Yeah. I think they mentioned someone else as well.
Yeah.
And Trippier was like, no, like Rice is the best. So you know, when your players that you play with and against say that, like, he didn't use the word lighthouse, but
no, he didn't.
But yeah,
he didn't. He just said Rice is the best, which I mean, Arsenal fans would have lapped onto.
Yeah,
which we did. Of course, we did. He wasn't the only player that joined. Jurien Timber joined. He said he was asked about. Bloody hell, go away. Thank you. He was asked about smooth as always. He was asked about joining Arsenal. He said, from a young age, I have brothers that have always liked Arsenal. I've been watching Robin van Persie, of course, and Thierry Henry. They're my favourite players. There are a couple of players who come from Ajax, but have not been a lot. So I think it's special to be here as an ex-Ajax player. It's special that they notice you and they see me as the player I am. Jurien Timber, he seemed very excited about the fact that he feels that the style that Ajax play and the style that he plays and the Arsenal play really suit him. It feels like a movie was again another one who's excited to play with Mikel Arteta. So yeah, Steve, Jurien Timber on his way again. More good stuff. Joining up with the US team. Yeah.
I mean, another excellent, you know, another brilliant signing. You know, again, someone else. You know, I can't wait to see play. And I think this signing is just like another. I mean, we've spoke over the last couple of years where we would like Arsenal to be. But I think when you're buying someone at the quality of Jurien Timber, who is a Dutch international, someone who's a regular Champions League footballer, you know, plays week in, week out. But now, you know, he's willing to come to Arsenal, you know, to be a possible squad player and not play every week. It says something about where Arsenal Football Club are now. You know, we're at that place now where we can go and buy players at the quality of Jurien Timber who are just happy to be here because they see the future of what's in front of them. And I think Jurien Timber said that in one of his interviews. Declan Rice has said it now. Havertz has said it now. You know, they've all said they can see like where Arsenal are going. And this is fantastic for the fans to hear. And, you know, Jurien Timber, you know, was mentioning it many times of his love. I mean, he could have gone to loads of clubs and played anywhere. Manchester United wanted him big time.
Bayern Munich were looking at him.
Bayern Munich wanted him. PSG wanted him. You know, he could have gone in there, started, but no, he wanted to come to Arsenal because he looks now as probably Arsenal as a team where he can win trophies, Premier Leagues, Champions Leagues now, and where he wants to be. But I'm excited to see Jurien Timber play. I haven't seen a lot of him play. But, yeah, it'd be interesting to see where he does. It was great to hear him speak. He got lost in a little bit of all the excitement of the Rice thing, didn't he? I felt a bit sorry for him, especially when they was doing the interview, introducing to the players.
Yeah.
And then it was Rice done his little speech, and Timber was like, "Mate, do you want to say a few words?" And he was like, "Quick 20 seconds," and then he was off. Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you. But I'm excited to see him because I haven't really seen him that much. So yeah. But it's a great signing because that type of signing, that quality of player, just shows you where Arsenal are now. So yeah great.
No, definitely, I agree. He said, I think I'm lucky to say that I can play in central defender, as a fullback, as a right fullback, and sometimes midfield. So I think it's a good thing that I need to keep that. I just like the way that Arsenal play. It's a bit similar to Ajax's style. Like they like to play at the back. I can see a lot of similarities, especially the way Arsenal and Ajax want to play. It seems like versatility is key to being an Arsenal player under Mikel Arteta, Melvin. And we've definitely got that with Jurriën Timber playing up to three different positions.
Yeah, so I mean, what I've seen of him, very little. What I've seen on YouTube looks absolutely fantastic. He's got a great reputation. The only thing is, in the past, sometimes being a utility player doesn't mean you never get one position your own. And that's what you really want as a player. You want to go out there most weeks and play in the same position, build on that, and know that that is your position and someone's got to get it off you. When you're utility, you seem to be the second thought sometimes when the manager's picking the team. I mean, he looks like he could play right back. He looks like a fabulous right back, and his attacking ability looks very good as well. So does it put a question mark over Ben White, or does it say that if we have any injuries at centre half, that's where Ben White will slot in rather than Timber, and Timber will take Ben White's slot? I mean, it's good. I mean, he seems to have all the attributes. I mean, he's fast, he's strong, he's got quick feet. But will he be in the first 11? You don't think so, Steve, obviously, but I think he must. We must find a position for him, surely.
No, I think what he was. I think what he was, Mel. I think what Abikar, especially in the defence, that I know you said finding a player position, but I think he wants defenders who can play in multiple positions. I think that's the whole thing. He wants to swap and change and people around. He wants Timber to come into midfield. He wants to know that Timber can play as centre back. He wants Ben White to play at centre back at some points. He wants him to play at right back. He wants Tommy Ashley to play at left back sometimes. Different players for different games in different positions. And I think that's the way the game's going. And that's similar to what Pep does. John Stones is a centre back. Sometimes you'll see him in midfield. With Kanji, he's a right back. Sometimes you'll see him left back. And I think that's where the game's going, Melv. I think it's a new look, new managers, young managers looking at new ways, bringing in players who are versatile, who can play in just a number of different. I look at Timber as someone who's like someone who can play in the multiple positions, and if he pops up as right, left back, centre back. I think that's what he wants. It wouldn't surprise me, and that goes for quite a number of Arsenal players as well.
Yeah, I think you're right, Steve. In for the team, I think it's fantastic for the team. But I don't personally think it's great for the player. I think.
What's your thoughts on the versatility, Jerome? The versatility aspect of a player. Do you think it would hold him back potentially because he may be seen as an option that can play anywhere, not really a serious position to hold down?
On this occasion, no, not really. I don't think we'll ever see him playing like as a typical midfielder. That won't happen. It'll either be right back or centre back, and probably centre back in like worst case scenario. What I think it does when you're competing against the best teams in the league, basically what you can't afford to have, which you might be able to afford to have if you're a bit further down the league, you can't really afford to have a weak link. And what this signing of Timber does is it means that hopefully, unless we have an absolute injury crisis like you've never, we will not have a weak link in our defence anymore. I think that's what this signing does. We're very well covered now in that position. will he start more games than Ben White? I don't know. Let's see how he plays. You know, this time last season, you wouldn't have said Saliba was guaranteed to start as centre back like every game. So let's see him in action and go from there. But that's the main thing I would say is we don't have to have like a player that's clearly worse than, like, a lot worse than all the others playing, especially in defence, where just a little one mistake could cost you the whole game.
Yeah, and I think as we've seen last season, if we're looking to be serious contenders for the league, we need to be looking at it as in we can't drop any points. We can't afford to drop points anywhere because you've seen City in there. Like, for all Arsenal get called out for how they finished this season, Arsenal's form pushed City into winning a treble. They had to go with a 19-game winning streak or whatever it was, unbeaten, winning, only dropping points once or twice. Like, it's ridiculous. And City, if it weren't for us, last season would have been a joke. Like, it would have been an absolute write-off for everyone. Speaking of talking about Farmers League, people want to point the finger at Germany and France talking about Farmers League. What would our league be constituted as if Arsenal weren't involved in it? Other teams were 20 points off of Arsenal. So what would it have been if Arsenal weren't involved in it? So yeah, little tirade there. Arsenal on their US tour. As you can see here, names. Let's have a look at some of the names. Oh, if I can pick the right bloody screen. There we go. Let's have a look at some of the names. Aaron Ramsdale, William Saliba, Kieran Tierney, Ben White, Gabriel Magalhaes, Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, Gabriel Jesus, Gabriel Martinelli, Jurien Timber, Alex Runnison, Eddie Nketiah, Jakob Kiwior, Rob Holding, Takehiro Tomiyasu, Leandro Trossard. This is a test. What's going on? Jorginho, Fabio Vieira, El Neni, Balogun, Marquinhos, Havertz, Cole Hine, Aston Trusty, Zinchenko, Declan Rice, and Mario Koza-Dubry. The full 29-man squad out there, Steve. Are you surprised at anyone that's in there? Are you surprised at anyone that's not in there?
No, not really. The people that've been left behind sort of speak for themselves a little bit, don't they? It sort of tells you something. I wouldn't be surprised. The way I see it now, I mean, Mikel Arteta has already said that, certain players will be moving on. And the ones that are left behind are probably the most likely the ones that he was talking about. And the ones that he's got out there, I would have thought would have been the ones that possibly or hopefully would be the team that's going to be going into the new season. Plus maybe a few more. He's taken a few out there, Kieran, to maybe take a look at to see what they're about, and obviously we know who one of them definitely would be, and that's obviously Fuller and Balogun. So he's actually come out and said, we've got him here because we want to take a look at him. So by those words, I would assume that he's sort of saying, if we like you, we might be giving you a few games next season. But if you don't prove to me something, around the team, then we'll sell you if we get a good bid. So yeah, but no, not really, no surprise really, no.
Some obvious names on there, Melvin. But any surprises for you?
No, not really. I thought they might give the young kid, the 16-year-old, a bit of travel, let him go along, get with the squad again. I think he's got some great potential. He's not ready, obviously not. But I think the players they've taken, like Holding's gone, hasn't he? Holding's gone, you called out. Yeah. I'm surprised that people like him go in. Who else? And, well, I suppose we are, I'm not going to say the word stuck, but we'll have El Neni next year as well. I mean, I thought we'd moved just above that. I thought there's a line that has gone a couple of notches higher, and I thought that would make a few players go. But some players, in my opinion, are below the line and still are staying, which is a bit disappointing. But we've got 5 weeks to go, 6 weeks to the when it finishes the window. We've got to seriously sell players. We've got too many, haven't we? We become
I don't
2.0,
see
won't we?
El Nene going. Just
He
purely
won't
on
go.
the basis that
He won't go.
he was signed on an extension when he had his knee injury, weren't he?
Yeah.
So I think it was more of a favour thing, wasn't it? So I just don't see him. I don't see him going, if I'm honest. I know he's doing training badges, he's coaching badges. I just see him hanging around the squad and then potentially seeing out his contracts at the end of the season is what I see with El Nene. But yeah, I know what you mean. I don't think he's going to get games, if I'm honest. There's too many options in that centre of the park. With the likes of Jorginho, as a name that people seem to be forgetting already. And especially if we're talking about bringing in a replacement for Thomas Partey if he goes, I just don't see a spot for El Nene at all. Jerome, any surprise additions to the squad? Any surprise omissions?
No, even the people that you think we might sell, like say Tierney, like you can't just leave him at home. Like you got to take him with you. You got to train with him. Like in an ideal world, maybe the players that you're thinking of going, you'd leave at home. But I don't think you could really do that in reality. That Runnelson's done well to get on the trip. But I just think that's because obviously the Turner's just been playing recently, so I don't think he's going to be joining up at all. So they just need a goalie. But no, other than that, no real major surprises. I don't think. Maybe Lakonga's not there, is he?
No, he's staying at home.
He'll leave. He'll go.
Yeah.
Reece Nelson's got an injury. He's out for 3 weeks, so he's staying at home.
Lakonga looks like he's going to Burnley, doesn't he, Kieran?
I've not seen anything concrete.
Yeah,
on
the
that.
manager love him. The manager loves him.
Yeah, because he came through the ranks at Anderlecht, didn't he, under Vincent Kompany?
Yeah.
I hope he does get something out of him. It'd be interesting to see what kind of a player he is when he's
Cedric's there,
a bit more comfortable. Cedric is out in the US.
No, he's at home.
I think he's gone.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's not going though, is he?
Well, he's not going.
He doesn't. He's in the contracts, isn't he? He doesn't want to leave. So.
Oh, has he got a year left?
I think so. Yeah, he's saying I want to stay. But
The never-ending contract.
Yeah.
So that's what he said today, when he quoted it, come out and actually said it. I want to stay, fight for my place.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's an option. If I'm honest. Well, we will see. Other things that came out more recently is the kit launch. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but the kit launch was.
What's
the
it
kit
like?
launch was out. It was the video was good, and I'd probably say that's about as far as it goes because the kit itself is it's one that's going to grow on you. There's
really good.
Fabio. There's Martinelli showing off the kit. Luminous. There we go. There's the boys in the kit. But one thing I did want to point out is
never saw it.
With all of this, you didn't see it.
No.
There he goes. Look at that. You can see it with your eyes shut, Melv.
He's wearing it. My dad's wearing it. Look.
Melvin is modelling the kit. Look at that.
Now.
Look at that.
Now. Yeah, it's nice. I always like yellow. we can play at night, Kieran. This is why we're doing it. We can play at night without floodlights.
He's got that kit.
I don't know what I have on my back. I might have. I don't know. I might have a Declan Rice on my back. I don't know. What I have on my back, but I'll decide.
Mate, wearing that, you're probably more likely to see people with timber on the back of that rather than Declan Rice.
Yeah, get a hard hat. Yeah.
Exactly. But one thing I did want to point out is what Arsenal are actually doing with a lot of this stuff is sort of taking it back to the community. The hybrid youth choir involved. Anyone that knows Martin Kemp, Spandau Ballet. I'm sure Steve and Melvin were in the front row and centre for all of their gigs, but also his son as well.
Just go in the same pub as him.
Roman Kemp is a massive fan. It just feels that Arsenal get NSG is a very relevant band at the moment. Like, it just feels that Arsenal are getting it from this kind of thing to the murals that they currently have on the stadium, just keeping it fresh. I think the fans and the community were involved in a lot of this, of the design of the kit. I don't know what their inspiration was, but it feels like whatever Arsenal were doing, they want the fans involved as well. And it's another reason why it just feels like everything's going in the right direction. That togetherness that Mikel Arteta was talking about previously. It's all good. It's all good. Now onto the transfers. Well, one man who's definitely won't be going is Jorginho. He's made a big impact around the squad. Charles Watts come out and said he's really popular behind the scenes. He's a massive figure as well. He's really established himself very quickly as a leader off the pitch at Arsenal. Mikel Arteta really likes him, and the players really like him as well. He's got a big part to play this season. It's going to be such a big squad game for Arsenal this season, especially with Champions League football coming back. Jorginho's got all the experience you'd want and is able to cope and deal with that. Solid statements there from Charles Watts, Steve. Jorginho only been here 6 months and is already making a big impact with the squad. We've seen the videos, we spoke about it previously. He's becoming a bit of a leader around the team.
Yeah, I mean, I love Jorginho. I mean, he wasn't here 2 minutes, was he? And all of a sudden, he just grew on you, and not only off the pitch, but with his performances on it. Standout moments in the season that you can pick that Jorginho was involved in. The goal against Aston Villa. Some of the performances that he given was 10 out of 10 performances. And off the pitch, he's just great, isn't he? He's one of the blokes. Probably if I could pick a couple of players to go out and have a beer with or something on a night, I'd probably pick Jorginho first. Because he'd probably be such a great player to be around. But there's so much to Jorginho. I can see why Arteta wants to keep him around, and I'm not too sure how old he is. But 31. Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, I would sign him up on a new contract. Without any shadow of a doubt. Because I just think it's important to have players like Jorginho around the club. And I think especially this season with Jorginho, because, this is going to be a lot of the players' first experience of Champions League football. And it wouldn't surprise me one little bit if Jorginho starts in those games in the Champions League because of his experience in those type of games. And probably a reason why we bought Timber as well, because again, Champions League experience. But yeah, Jorginho's got so much to offer, and yeah, I hope he's around for a long time.
Melvin, did you expect Jorginho to have settled in so well and sort of become a leader figure around the squad already?
Oh, I think he's done very well. I thought he was outstanding against Newcastle.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable against Newcastle, and he did a job. When we had our backs against the wall, that's when he really came to the front. I thought he was absolutely superb, and I'm just surprised we bought Jorginho. We can afford to get rid of El Neni now because they do a similar type of job, in my opinion. Just break up play, give it to someone and do something more with it. And he can't. And going forward, Jorginho is a better player than El Neni, I think. He'd try to hit a through ball where El Neni probably would look for the sideways ball. I'm not knocking El Neni. He's done well.
Leave him alone, you're picking on him.
Yeah, no, he's given 100%. To some players, I mean, a lot of this squad give 100%, but some are not as good as others. So that's my point. And I think that if the choice was, and I'm not saying it is, between El Neni and Jorginho, my money's on Jorginho all the time. And I'll tell you who, I'm sorry, just one other thing, Kieran, just seen him now, reminded me, I'm shocked that someone's gone on the tour, and I thought he might have been loaned out by now, in Marquinhos. I think he's gone backwards since he joined us. He started off in the European game, scored one, made one, and he was going from foot to foot, looked absolutely sharp. And then I saw him at the Emirates, and I thought, you haven't beaten a player yet. You give it the shoulders, but the feet don't do anything. And I was very disappointed with him. He didn't go past the back once, and that was against not a great European team. And I think that he really needs to pull his finger out, because otherwise, I think he could be just an also-ran. People's forgotten about him. No one even talks about him now. I'm surprised he's there. I suppose he's got a chance to prove himself, but has he got it? That's the thing.
I think it would be slightly harsh to bring Marquinhos in, have him in the squad for a little while, loan him out, and then not take him on the tour. He needs to, I think he's coming over from Brazil. He needs to settle first, and then get into the swing of things and then adapt to the style of play under Mikel Arteta. I think he's got time on his hands. And I think they said it themselves. Don't expect much from him straight away. So be interested to see what they do with him this season. He probably does need to show what level he's at and potentially a Prem loan or something like that. Because I don't know whether a Championship loan is going to do him any good. Jerome, was you surprised that Jorginho's had such a key figure in the team as regards to a leader?
Nah, not really, because if you look at what he's sort of already done and won. Also, in terms of his sort of his personality within the team, not that he has to be like that, but he's obviously not playing as much, is he? He's not playing as regularly as what he used to. He's not the first name in our midfield. So I think he probably understands that. And so maybe he's having more of an impact sort of outside of the pitch. Mm-hmm. But he's always laughing and joking, isn't he? When you see him doing his little sort of videos, he's always having a laugh. But I don't know how much he'll play next season. Also, like in the Champions League, I think it depends what stage it is. Like I can't see like him dropping Rice for Jorginho in the Champions League. So I don't know. We'll see.
It'd be interesting to see what they do because even talk of Romeo Lavea, I don't see him coming in, and even as a backup to Rice, I don't see it. It's a big shoulders to that like coming in as a 19-year-old. Yes, he may have done well for Southampton, but this ain't Southampton. The expectations are much higher. The pressure is much higher. Like you can't compare a season at Southampton, one season at Southampton, to being able to come into an Arsenal team and be a replacement for someone like Declan Rice. I see if Partey leaves, Jorginho slots in there, and then whoever comes in is the third spot. It'd be interesting to see what they do. But I think Jorginho will get I think Jorginho will get a fair bit of game time in terms of we've got we want to be fighting on all four fronts in the cup as well. So Carabao Cup, FA Cup. I think he'll have a bit to play in the Champions League. I can't see why not. His experience is going to be invaluable. And obviously the league. We need to be thinking more in terms of what City done and rotating players for specific games. We should be able to look at a player now and know the drop-off isn't going to be that much. So there should be that fear of playing and putting someone in. So I hope that we do see everyone in this squad. Obviously, we've got our strongest team, but we need to mix it about.
I think, mate. I think if you mentioning Champions League there, but if I was, even if we bring another player in, I think my ideal first 11, my first midfield for a Champions League game, whether it be something against like Bayern Munich or Real Madrid, would be Jorginho and Rice, playing Jorginho in the 6 and Rice in the 8. because I think them two together would work perfectly.
Yeah, it just depends. It depends what Rice does. Look, I expect Rice to be a key figure in this team. I expect Rice to bring up his levels as well. Because yes, Rice is an excellent player, but he's got to come into this squad and be better than everyone else as well. Because that's the level that we're looking to buy. We're looking to buy someone who's not just on this level of where Thomas Partey was or where Jorginho is. He's going to be much better. And I don't think he's there now in terms of being that much better. I think that his bar's up here. And I think it's going to be playing with Arsenal and working under Arteta that's going to take him there. So it might not be straight away. It might not be 6 months. It might be a year. But yeah, there are a lot more levels to come from Declan Rice, I think. Another player who's not leaving. The links for Leandro Trossard and Jorginho were crazy. It was almost as if as soon as the season finished, people were looking, what are we going to say? Maybe we should sell Trossard. Maybe we'll sell Jorginho. No, we need a big squad. Quotes coming out saying, discuss the future of Belgian forward Trossard. While the former Brighton ace may not start every game at Arsenal, he's absolutely not a player that Mikel Arteta is considering letting go. It'll be crazy to let go Trossard. He came in, was it 11 or 12 assists in the end for Arsenal? Outstanding second half of the season. Excellent second half of the season.
I don't know where, Kieran, where are they getting all this, these people keep coming up with this, they're not going to start every week from? We're hearing it a lot, aren't we? Well, we ain't going to start. You're in newspapers, on radio. Oh, yeah, but you ain't going to start every week. Don't people realise that, if you want to go and win the Premier League, you've got to have, you've got De Bruyne who sits on the bench, Silva sits on the bench. I've seen Haaland on the bench. Diaz sits on the bench. Don't people realise that you've got to have these players? And then they come up with, in the newspapers, on the radio, or someone puts them online. Oh, Trossard ain't going to start. He ain't going to start. That player ain't going to start. That player doesn't start. You need him there. It's so plain.
The thing is, I don't understand why people feel like you can't live by City's rules. If you got to play City's game, that's how you're going to be able to. You can't. Liverpool for years, for 6 out of 7 years, I've tried to go toe to toe with Man City and keep as close to their 11 as possible. And I mean, they've no real room for manoeuvre in terms of changing their squad, because when you look at the bench, it just wasn't as good as the first team. They could change a couple of players, but once those couple of players were changed, that Liverpool team started looking different. So in the cup games like the Carabao Cup, they might completely change their team, which is why they had a Carabao Cup team that against Arsenal that was like kids. In the FA Cup, again, in the early stages, he's getting accused of not taking it seriously. Well, if he wants to win the league, he had to, because the squad they had kind of sacrificed. But in the end, he nearly won the quadruple. But if you want to be able to challenge on more than just one front, if you want to take your team to the end against City, you have to match them like for like. You have to start making your squad
100%.
2 squads. You have to. You can't be thinking about he costs this much, he has to start. It's an old school way of thinking, and I get it, but you can't think that way anymore. City are buying 2 fullbacks, backup and first one, it costs 50 million each. We might not be able to do that, but we still have to have. We can do it over 2 or 3 seasons. Keep the Kirantinis, not sell him, and have the Zinchenko's. Keep the Tomiyasu, have the option of Ben White, and bring in a Jurriën Timber. It's the things you've got to do. It may not be able to do it in 1 or 2 seasons, but you've got to look at Man City as the blueprint now and try and match them. Florian Balogun has come out, and the latest news coming out is he insists he is cool over whatever decision is taken on his future after Arsenal demand 50 million transfer fee for his services. He said, I think with me coming back, it's not very much a situation where I think I need to try extra hard to prove something. I think the decision that's not really with me, whatever happens, I'm cool with. It's just quotes that I found quite surprising, considering maybe not direct quotes that you've heard And to be fair, that's probably how we should start taking that. Not direct quotes that were coming out of the camp of Florian Balogun was that he wants to leave. He doesn't want to come back and play second fiddle. He wants to be a starter. But when we actually get some quotes from him, he says, whatever happens to me, with me here, I'm cool. Steve, why are you looking so cynical?
I don't like his attitude.
Well, he's just said there, his quotes have just said there, whatever happens to me,
I don't know what it is. Saying don't
I'm
sit
cool.
right.
He's insisted I'm cool.
Yeah, but he's got
What's
to
wrong
say
with
that.
his quotes there?
He's got to say that, and he ain't going to say I'm absolutely pissed off for being it.
No, but you can always word it in a different way.
Yeah, you
can always word it in a different way.
You
Whatever
can.
happens to me, I'm cool. He says.
Yeah, there's something that I don't know. They're saying this don't sit right with him when I see him. You know, I do what you guys do quite a lot now. You know, I have the number for. I like what's their training. I'm looking at their body language. I'm listening to every word that certain players are saying, and he's not convincing me yet. I mean, I'm not saying anything about his performance. You know, the other day. You know, a lot of players saying that he missed 2 goals. I'm not one who's takes that really in. You know, for a striker, you've got to be in them positions. And, you know, a lot of people were calling him out. I wasn't one of those people who called him out because, you know, if you're going to call him out, Eddie Nketiah did absolutely nothing. You know, we love Eddie. So, but they chose to, you know, pick on players. They're saying they just don't sit right with it. I just want to see more passion from him. I want him to see him. Yeah, I'm good here. I'm happy here. You know, I can't wait to put on the shirt. I'm buzzing to get going. But it's like, yeah, I'm cool. You know, I'm just whatever happens. And that for me, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear that. Yeah, I'm here. I want to play for the Gunners. Yeah, it's great. It's going to be a great season. You know, the Declan Rice is here. What I'm hearing off of all the other players, image slice like, yeah, well, you know, I'm cool. Yeah, whatever happens, you know, just if I leave, if I go, if I stay, yeah, I don't care. That's not what I want to hear.
You're ad-libbing, Steve.
Maybe so.
You've added a shrug, a grumpy face, and you've added whatever happens to me, I don't care.
Yeah. I think it's because like the fans, everybody's upbeat, and you're looking at all players in training, they're all like, you know, ready, and you can see them messing about and jumping around. And when they're interviewed, they're like, "Oh, I can't wait." He just don't see that. Maybe it's just his character. Maybe I'm seeing something that's not there. I just would like to see a little bit more, you know. And but I'm still excited to see him play in this pre-season because I want to see what he's got, you know. But yeah, no.
Right. Melvin.
Yes.
Balogun says he's cool with whatever decision's made. What's your thoughts on those quotes?
Why wouldn't he be cool? You know, the stays at the Arsenal and you know, it does very, very well, hopefully, going forward. Not necessarily next season. Mm-hmm. Or he goes to a club for 30, 40, 50 mil, gets a fortune at the age of, 21?
Yeah.
And what's he got to worry about? What you did say that is, will he be happy being second fiddle? I think that's not quite correct. He'd be third or fourth fiddle, wouldn't he? Because I think that there'd be Jesus up front, there'd be Eddie in front of him, there could be Carl Havertz in front of him. Might be if we play him like that, if we have an injury problem. There could be Trossard in front of him in the centre. So if I was him, I'd be looking and going, will I play next year? If he wants to be a bit more patient and give it 1 or 2 years, learn the trade so he can actually slot in this team when he's 23 in a year or two's time and be potentially a world beater, fine. But I don't think he's going to do that. I think
what would you do?
He's tasted the first team in France, scoring 21 goals and quite a lot of penalties, and to see him sit in the reserves, sit on the bench week after week, he will probably think that's a step backwards, even though it's Arsenal, and that's what I think might happen. And I think if a club comes in and gives 40, 45, you say, thank you very much. If we're wrong, but we might be right.
Yeah, I think I think we need to not hold on to players when their stock is as high as it is when we don't know. Like, I think Manchester City are very good at letting go when they feel the player's not ready to get into the squad now. Like, look, we were waxing lyrical about Charlie Patino over only a season and a half ago, and now we're talking about selling him because he's not of the required level to come into Arsenal over the next now or next season. And there's probably youth team players that aren't far off of his ability with a few years younger. So they're weighing up and going, look, a simple buyback option or a sell-on fee, you're not going to get in the team anytime soon. So we've got to move you on. So yeah, Jerome, what's your thoughts on Balogun? What would you do? First of all, what's your thoughts to his quotes, and what would you do if you was Balogun?
Yeah, I think he's cool about it because he's in the best position he's been in during his career. He's just come off the back of a good season. People are talking about him. Big clubs in Europe are talking about him. The figures are high that are being discussed. So I think that's why he's cool. I think deep down, I think he knows that he'll probably leave. Do
you think someone's going to pay the 50 million Arsenal asked for?
No, I don't think someone will pay 50. No one will pay 50, but they'll.
40.
What you got to remember is a couple of seasons ago, I think he signed a new contract. He was going to walk out the door for nothing. He was going to go on a free, a bit like what would have happened to Nelson this season. Mm-hmm. His contract was running out, and they signed him up. There was a lot of talk that he was just going to go for nothing.
Yeah,
Balogun. He's the main man now for America, isn't he? Main striker for America with a World Cup coming up there. Everything in his world is all coming up Millhouse. Like it's great for him. It's a shame because Eddie is another one that's sort of blocking him. Look, but for us, he's done nothing for us to suggest that he should be like ahead of Nketiah, really. Yet he hasn't played for us at all, really.
Yeah.
We don't know, do we? We don't know.
Do you think the tour's going to play a part in the decision over who plays over Eddie, who plays him or Eddie?
The trouble you've got is who's coming in for. There's no one coming in for Eddie. Eddie's going to stay. No one's going to offer anywhere near the money that they're going to offer for Balogun. So he'll stay. He'll stay. Eddie. I don't think it's a case of one person wants to play, one person is okay. No one's coming in for Eddie. No one.
What if they did, Jerome? If someone come in for Balogun or Eddie, they had 40 million, and they could take one or the other. As the now, we've not seen Balogun yet, have we? But we know what we can get from Eddie. Who would you say? Okay, you can go for 40 million.
Eddie, we know what he can do. We don't know about Balogun.
So you'd get rid of Eddie for 40.
Yeah, if you got offered the same for both players, you've got to get rid of Eddie because we know about Eddie. We know him.
But not even knowing what Balogun can do, you'd still get rid of. Yeah,
I'd risk getting Balogun.
I think, Steve, we know what Eddie's ceiling is.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I think we've seen Eddie's ceiling, and it's not quite. It's okay, but it ain't what we need. Is okay. Yeah. He's done well, but we need more than that.
I think if someone came in now, I know what you're saying about Eddie. We're seeing it, but because we haven't seen Balogun at all, I'd get rid of Balogun and take the 40 for Balogun. And I'm not saying that's because I don't know. You know, Balogun might turn into a well beater. He could turn into not. So I'd have to take 40 for Balogun with a heavy heart, I think.
I don't see anyone coming in for Balogun. I see Arsenal put that 50 million because they would take 40. I don't see anyone coming in and paying 40 million for Balogun. Like, he's a massive risk. Yes, he had a very good season in France last season, but 40 million for anyone outside the Premier League is not small money. That's a big part of your budget. Italy, talks of Italy, it's laughable. Whenever I see an Italian club going for a player from England, I laugh. Because unless that club is willing to give that player for a massive deduction, they're not going to sell in Italy because they can't afford it. Like, Italy are not paying the big bucks when it comes to buying in players. Like, it's just not going to happen. Will he go back to France? No, not a chance. So for me, it's one of the bigger clubs that may be sniffing around, or someone in England. And I just don't see it. I
think he should go to England. I think he's better off should go to a club in this country. You know, I just don't
see someone paying 40 million for a player they haven't seen playing the Prem. that's a massive risk as well. Going abroad, he'll score goals abroad, but still, I just don't think they can afford him.
Brighton or someone like that, they'd have money. You know, mind you, they've got.
Are they going to pay 40 million for Balogun? 50 million for? In fact, I don't see Arsenal doing them a favour. Why should Arsenal do Brighton a favour if they said 50 million? Take 50 million for Brighton.
So Arsenal have put this 50 million number out for Balogun, right?
Yeah.
What would they put out there for Eddie? They wouldn't put out 50 for Eddie, would they?
30, yeah.
People would laugh.
25 to 30. The thing is, if Eddie plays week in, week out for a Premier League team, I see him scoring 10, 15 goals in a season. And I think other clubs would. Like, he scored four in his time to cover from Jesus, 4 in 10. He's a goal scorer. He scores goals. Whether he suits the style of play for the modern day footballer, where they need more of a player than just someone who's in and around the box and can put it in the net. We've seen with goal scorers in England, they're not really favoured. Even the likes of Aguero weren't favoured at Man City because of his game. Because his game wasn't as expansive as someone else who could drop in, link up the play. Aguero could do it, but that wasn't his game. He had to change his game for Pep. But he was a goal scorer. Like we see the likes of Defoe when he was still scoring goals back in the day, he weren't getting games for teams because he's just a goal scorer. The White Gale, just a goal scorer, and he came from the Championship smashing in goals. Come to the Prem, not getting a game because it's just there to score goals. They want more than that.
We might even bring one in. We might even bring.
I think that's why they're looking to see what Balogun could do because if you look at the comparisons on the type of player that he is, they compare him to the style of play that Harry Kane does in terms of the way he drops into play, he drifts out wide. He's that sort of player. And the fact that he's now adding goals to his game, which you see in France, that's why people are excited. Okay, what's this player going to do? Maybe it's worth paying 35 now because we could sell him on in a few years' time for 60, 70 if he bags goals. So, and that's where the market is at the moment. A lot of clubs looking to potentially brine these players before they're on the come for the big money. A story that you just saw flying underneath. Steve mentioned it earlier. Cedric wants to stay at Arsenal. Not today, mate. Not today. Saudi are keen on Thomas Partey. We're just going to gloss through a couple of these. Pat Nevin comes out and says that Arsenal got some of the best deals. Pat Nevin came out, former Chelsea winger. Pat Nevin believes that Arsenal have got a better deal in Kai Havertz after the Gunners signed the German for 65 million last month. He said that Havertz leaving Chelsea hurts the most. I think Havertz could be one of the greatest football players of his generation. He was playing as a centre forward though, and that's not his strongest position. Playing there really took away from his strongest parts of his game. Arsenal have sealed an absolute cracker of a deal with Havertz. I'm really confident that Arteta will be able to get the best out of him as well. Arsenal's team next season is already looking extremely good, and I think replacing him in midfield is a big upgrade. Big words from Pat Nevin talking about Kai Havertz has been unfairly judged, and that he feels that Mikel Arteta can get the best out of him. Calling him one of the players of the generation.
Yeah. I mean, probably mostly by Chelsea fans. I mean, all I've seen online and on the radio, listening to it, is Chelsea fans slag off Kai Havertz. But you know, I agree with what Pat Nevin's saying. I think we sort of touched on it last week that you know he's obviously he's talking about the Kai Havertz that was at Bayer Leverkusen. And if Arteta can bring that player out of him, then you know that when he played in Germany, then we have got something very, very special because he can be an incredible player on his day. He was played in the wrong position at Chelsea. He was played as a forward. He's certainly not a forward. I'm still unsure really where Arteta's gonna play him. But yeah, I mean, I've seen some of the clips of Kai Havertz and some of the things that he does on that ball, and it's like, you know, absolutely special. You know, he is one hell of a player. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't at Chelsea that long, and you know, he was just, you know, it's a disruptive club, isn't it, Chelsea? So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. And yeah, but again, it goes back. Where's he going to play him? Is he going to start? This is the interesting thing. But yeah, I mean, it's great to have him.
Are you surprised by the quotes from Pat Nevin, Melvin?
I'm not. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm very happy to hear it. I mean, we don't know anything about him, but we've seen very little. All we've seen a miserable centre forward who seems to miss a couple of goals. That's the impression I got when I watched him. But Pat Nevin, who's obviously one of the great Chelsea players of the past, he must go to all. I imagine he goes there all the time and sees him playing. If he thinks he's good, I mean, Pat Nevin was a terrific footballer, a great winger. I mean, you know, great. I'd rather people like that think he's good than people that have never watched him play, think he's good. So yeah, I mean, we'll soon find out. Let's hope Arteta's. I mean, there was a quote the other week that he's going to find a place for him in the squad. No, we don't want that. We thought it was a master plan. He's going to play in a position that no one's ever thought of. And this is going to slot in that position. And he is the missing jigsaw piece for that puzzle going forward. But who knows? I mean, like a lot of things, we got to, whatever we think, whatever anyone says, I'm glad he said that. Gives me a bit more confidence. Oh, was it as we find someone Spanish?
Oh. Sorry, it was the Gypsy Kings.
Oh, the Gypsy. I thought it was a Spanish thing. I thought
they're Arsenal fans.
I thought you were trying to tell me something. No, no. Listen, I can't wait to watch him play for us because he might be a slow burn, but I reckon that he's obviously got a lot of talent, and we've got a very talented team, and he can fit in and do things quicker than we've done it before. And if he takes the place of the side that Xhaka played on, for all these good things, Xhaka, he wasn't the fastest of people in releasing the ball or getting into spaces, and he could be an upgrade on that because Xhaka, for all his good things, he actually stopped defending like he did, thank God. He played further up. And if this guy can play further up and give the last ball through the defence, make a few more chances for Martinelli or Jesus or whoever, then quid's in, mate. Lovely. Can't wait. So I just want to see it. I can't wait for the season to start. You know, I just cannot wait for this season to start. And just get there and see what we've got and see. And it's interesting to see what formation we play, what players we play, and how the new guys set in. Like you said before, with Declan Rice, he's going to settle in. He will settle in. There's no doubt about that. It may not be the first 5 minutes of the game, but he will settle in for us. No doubt about it. The Dutch geezer, Timber, and Havertz, when he play, they will settle in. Might take a bit of time, but I just can't wait. And we've got so many other players that trip off the tongue. The great players like the Sakas of this world. Martinelli's, and just keep Jesus, just keep going. So it's so good. So he may not hit the ground running. Look at the great players we had that never hit the ground running, and he might hit the ground running. But even if he doesn't, you look at the Perez. First season Perez came, everyone was tutting because he wasn't as fast as Overmars that replaced.
Who is?
Player. Yeah, but different type of player. People going, I said, well, he's not that type of player. I went, he's not that, don't worry about it. And also Burkham, the flop. Everyone said it was a flop. All the judges from the Old Bailey said it was a flop. That was short-lived, wasn't it? And Henry, he was the first 7 or 8 games couldn't score a goal. Oh, look who is this guy? They soon found out, didn't they? So no, it's. I'm just so excited to get these players in because I know that he can play very fast football. He can, and that will fit in with us when we break now. It's going to be amazing. It really is. I just can't wait.
They could play him in an 8. They could play him. I think if you played Rice and Havertz and Odegaard, for instance, first game of the season, I don't think I think the way Arteta wants to play, especially this season, is with the inverted fullbacks. And Havertz won't have to defend that much if you've got inverted fullbacks because they'll be pushing into the midfield, i.e. White, Timber, Zinchenko moving in. to cover Everton Everett's position. So, yeah,
I can't see Mikel Arteta bringing in Havertz and not knowing where he plays. I know there was those quotes the other day in that
they worry me, those quotes, Kieran, but you might be right.
I just can't see it. For me, he's coming in as Xhaka's replacement. We've seen many people talk about how Havertz was the next in line for the Ballack, the Cruz. He's meant to be a number 10. He's meant to be a midfielder. But it's good to hear from a player like Pat Nevin that he actually saw the good in Kai Havertz, and that he probably didn't get out of him, Jerome. So yeah, it's good to see. It's good to see that someone saw the good in Havertz, even while he was at Chelsea.
Yeah, especially because Nevin's not an Arsenal man. Normally, when these people are, they've got allegiances to other clubs, they'll knock Arsenal down wherever they do. So, yeah, nice to hear.
No, another player at Arsenal over before we go. Gremio midfielder Bitello. Jerome, you had a little look at him. Anything like Romeo Lavella on that level better?
From what I saw, like totally different player to Lavia. Like from what I saw, much more like attacking, and he hasn't played a lot like at top level in Brazil. Like he played in this team Gremio, and it's the same team that Luis Suarez plays for, and they got promoted recently. And he's 23. He's never been capped at any level by Brazil.
Really?
Yeah.
Bit like Martinelli's story.
Yeah, but he's older though, isn't he? He's
23.
24 in January. Like you see the clips, he's very attacking. Like maybe on either wing, perhaps. Quite slight frame, low centre of gravity, quite unpredictable.
Nothing like what Arsenal need right now.
He's like a versatile. I would describe as a versatile forward. Maybe a late bloomer, perhaps.
Yeah, probably just his agent trying to get his name about. And finally, Arsene Wenger says that Arsenal can win the title. Arsene Wenger believes Arsenal will win the title this season in a confident statement after the Gunners completed the sign of Declan Rice. Wenger told Eurosport, "I believe we, Arsenal, will win the championship. It is as simple as that. I have less doubts for Arsenal than the cycling today." Steve, what's going on? Wenger coming out and saying that Arsenal will win the championship.
Yeah, well, Wenger knows, doesn't he? But yeah, I mean, this where we are now, isn't it? I'm Arsene Wenger's. He knows the game, doesn't he? He's an honest person. I've seen him, put Arsenal down in the past. I've seen him put Arsenal players down in the past. So, he comes out and he actually says what he believes. And yeah, I mean, I've seen people scoff at that. I've seen people laugh at that. I've seen certain professional footballers from certain radio stations have a good old laugh about what he said and think it was hilarious, and think that Arsenal got absolutely no chance next year, and I've heard everything. But Arsene Wenger, he looks at Arsenal. He's seen a team that's getting better and better. He's seen a team that's making fantastic signings. He's seeing the players that are already at the club, and he sees the atmosphere that's going around the club, and something that Arsene's built. Arteta's a big fan of the way Arsene Wenger played football. He was, he played for him, didn't he? So he knows. But yeah, I mean, I say it now. I mean, I'm going to get asked at one point, but I've never said it before. I genuinely think Arsenal are favourites and should be favourites to win the title, and I think we will win it next year.
Over City.
Over City, I don't get. I'm not having. I think we will win the title next year. I think Declan Rice sees what I see, and he knows right? He knows where Arsenal are going, and I know where Arsenal are going as well. And I genuinely believe, right, that Man City could be. I said about football comes in cycles. I genuinely believe it's Arsenal's turn. I genuinely believe we will win the title next season, and that's
I think
no banter, no saying it because I've said Arsenal finish 8th. I've seen Arsenal finish 5th. I've said be lucky. I genuinely believe that our squad's got what it takes to beat City next year and to beat them to the title.
Right,
I agree we might win it, Steve, but I do not believe we're favourites.
I think we are.
If you went into Birmingham, if you went in, you forget Manchester, forget London, you went in the middle of England and you went into a bookies and you asked who the favourite would be, so they got no allegiance to any team, north or south. They ain't going to say favourites. Oh, we're going to make on the book.
They're favourites to me. To me, I mean,
for you, yeah. Well, that's not the same. No. I don't think we are favourites.
To me, they're the favourites. I think Arsenal are favourites to win the league. They're going to be 4 players short. Yeah, if they buy players just as good, but there won't be no Kyle Walker next year. There won't be no Gundogan next year. There won't be no Mahrez next year. Bruyne's turning 32. Let's see.
Haaland's getting on a bit as well, isn't he? Haaland, he's getting on a bit.
Let's see. Let's see. The mark this moment. I genuinely believe we've got a better squad.
I mean, I can't mark this moment.
Bernardo Silva's on his way out. Not on his way out. I mean, on his way of leaving. That's 5 players out of the Man City squad this season that's not there, and we lost that title last year. Whatever way you want to people want to jazz it up, was because one player wasn't playing. Simple as that.
Jerome, Wenger says Arsenal will win the league next season. What's your thoughts?
I like his confidence. We got a chance. We got a chance, but we know what we're up against. You can't afford to slip up now in this league. You can't afford to, as batsmen do in cricket, just get yourself in for a few minutes. You got to be good from the go. So it's bloody tough. But we got a chance. I think we sign one more midfielder. I think that chance increases again. But hopefully he's right, Wenger.
Well, we will see. It's not even that long till the Premier League starts as well, which is crazy. All right, that is all we have time for. Thank you for everyone who's joined us tonight. Appreciate your time. Make sure if you are new to the show, press that like and subscribe button and press that share button. Just press the copy. If you are regular to the show, make sure you press that like and the copy button, share button and copy button. Sorry, it helps the algorithm. Thank you for everyone who's joined us tonight. Thank you for joining us, Steve, Melvin, and mate. Jerome. Thank you. And everyone who's joined us in the comment section, thank you very much. Make sure you join us next week at 8 o'clock for the Arsenal show and Monday for the Transfer Exchange show, Transfer Special. Peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands.